Welcome to our Wednesday video. You probably realize there is no shortage of conspiracies circulating today. Some may be real, others merely theoretical. But unfortunately, many professed Christians either get entangled in a debate about them, or they fall into a depression of fear and anxiety regarding them. And what's interesting is that none of this is new. Some 700 years before Jesus Christ, in the days of the prophet Isaiah, conspiracies were raging all around. And God had something to say to His people about them through the prophet. Listen to Isaiah chapter 8, verses 11 to 13. Isaiah 8, beginning at verse 11. For thus the Lord spoke to me with mighty power and instructed me not to walk in the way of this people. And what did God tell the prophet specifically? Verse 12. You are not to say, it is a conspiracy, in regard to all that this people call a conspiracy. And you're not to fear what they fear or be in dread of it. It is the Lord of hosts whom you should regard as holy, and He shall be your fear, and He shall be your dread. So there were conspiracies in Isaiah's day. Isaiah, God, may have been referring to the conspiracy of the Syrian alliance with Israel in the north, as these two countries were conspiring against Judah to try to force her to join in this alliance against the growing threat of Assyria in the north. Instead of joining with them, Ahaz, king of Judah, he wanted to form a conspiracy or an alliance with the Assyrians to counteract the aforementioned conspiracy. Maybe it was something else. Maybe the reference is to an inner Judean alliance against the pro-Assyrian party of Ahaz. What's interesting to note is that some or even all of these were real. And yet God said, it doesn't matter. Don't fear the conspiracy, you fear me. And if God said that about some conspiracies or alliances that were real, how much more so when it's just theory? Which brings us to today. Conspiracies today, or theories about them, abound all around us. Whether real or perceived, there have been conspiracies regarding the assassination of presidents, for example. There have been conspiracies or theories proposed that the election results of a presidential race have been determined by conspiracy. Some suggest that there were conspiracies within the country to determine the election. Some suggest that there were conspiracies without the country to determine the election. Some put forward ideas that governments have conspired behind a malicious use of a virus to produce a worldwide pandemic, or a virus in figurative terms to overwhelm another government's computer systems or to hack into those systems and bring down vital infrastructures. And we could go on and on with the list of conspiracies, whether real or perceived. But what does God say about all this? Don't get caught up in the hysteria of conspiracies, whether real or perceived. Rather, you need to learn to fear the Lord. In the face of conspiracies and fear, hope was offered to God's people in Isaiah's day. Just one chapter later, in Isaiah chapter 9 and verse 2, we read, Isaiah 9 verse 2, the people who walk in darkness will see a great light. Those who live in a dark land, the light will shine upon them. How's this going to happen? Verse 6, for a child will be born to us, a son will be given to us, and the government will rest on his shoulders. And his name will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Eternal Father, Prince of Peace. There will be no end to the increase of His government or of peace on the throne of David and over His kingdom, to establish it and to uphold it with justice and righteousness from then on and forevermore. The zeal of the Lord of hosts will accomplish this. We have the privilege of living on this side of that promise. That child prophesied by Isaiah has been born, and His name is Jesus Christ, and He is now, right now, at the right hand of God ruling. Acts chapter 2, verses 33 through 36. Far above all rule and authority and power and dominion and every name that is named, not only in this age but also in the one to come, says Paul in Ephesians chapter 1 and verse 22. So we conclude by saying, instead of focusing on the darkness of conspiracies and the darkness of the social ills of the countries that we live in today, let's focus on the great light God has sent us. Let's concentrate on the Son that was born and the gospel about Him and His great kingdom. Political conspiracies will come and go. The kingdom of Jesus Christ abides always. And if we can help you become a part of that kingdom, you let us know. You contact us at the information that will be given to you on the screen. Thank you for listening. Have a wonderful day.